What's up? Floyd on Android here. Finna talk about it. Now everybody got their sayings. Pretty much Tekashi 6ix9ine broke it down with Big Banks about the picking and choosing. But my thing is, when it comes down to this picking and choosing, a lot of folks seem to skip over old Rap-A-Lot. Now, Rap-A-Lot, I give it to them. They did their thing. Put the South on the map with the rap and all that stuff. But what y'all always give a pass is, Big Mike. Big Mike, part of the Ghetto Boys, solo artist on Rap-A-Lot Records. Big Mike had a fallout behind contractual agreements and all that stuff, so shoot. He took fire to a studio, burnt it down. And I guess in return, he thought it was going to be on the street level. But it wasn't. No. Lil J, the old man, went to authorities on him. But history sweep that under the rug, though. Hip-hop history, we sweep that under the rug. That Lil J pressed charges on Big Mike. Shoot. Matter of fact, we can go even further. We didn't have YouTube and the internet around for that incident, and we didn't have it around for this one either. But he basically bragged on going to them folks. Dre Day only met Eazy's payday. He basically bragged on the song. No, he had to go to them folks. Because if Suge allegedly got Dre out of the contract, he had to go to them folks to keep him in the contract. But hey, we get that with a pass too, Matter of fact, Eazy even went as far as to file a lawsuit. But now, we looking at Gucci all, disappointed and stuff like that. And the point I'm trying to make, both of them incidents fell under the same umbrella. But we got picks and chooses on what we want to criticize and crucify when it come down to it. We give some stuff a pass. And some things we don't, And Eazy did the same thing as Gucci. He went to them folks, had to give a statement. Then he made a diss song. Fast forward the clock, Guwap did the same thing. And people could be like, hey, I rolled up off his music made me jump in them streets, whoop-de-whoop. West Coast could say the same thing for Eazy. Because, he's supposed to have been the only G in NWA for real. And did the same thing. Except he did it years ago before social media and all this stuff would catch up, you know what I'm saying? And now, we got this internet in real time, it hit different. But yeah, Eazy did it before Gucci Mane did it. Point I'm trying to make. Yep. And basically, the only difference is, we could throw Jay Prince in that same category. He went to the laws on Big Mike. He went to the laws on that cop that was trying to get him up out the paint. Yep. Not to mention, he screwed over Harry O after he fronted him that money, allegedly. And wanted his return on his investment. He basically didn't give him nothing back. Told Harry O to kick rocks, basically. So yeah, man, when it come down to it, to a certain degree, and even with BG had to go before a grand jury, but Boosie moved the goalpost for BG, but that's his guy, and plenty more that did the same thing, especially Thug. Sitting in the interrogation room talking to the police is all the same thing. People give passes to who they want to give passes to. And you a snitch, but you got bread or you got a bag, straight. It's a new day and time. You're straight. Even in the penitentiary. And you a snitch with a bag. They don't want you in this car. You can go pay your way to another car and make that car smash that car. You're straight. Times done change. And basically, the quote-unquote streets get it from the penitentiary. So what is going on behind the wall, you shouldn't be surprised about what goes on the streets. Yeah. Fine example, okay. They don't want to let Finesse 2 times out of the mob ties contract, which I understand. He signed it, so he just basically gotta out rap himself. He just gotta keep coming with hit after hit after hit after hit. Try to renegotiate that thing and go from there. Either do enough under the Finesse 2 times name, switch it up to 250 Ricky and go from there and create, try to carve out another lane. Sort of like Turkey Mail own everything on the Lil Boosie. Shoot, carved out another lane. Boosie badass. But you gotta have the work ethic to do that. You gotta have that work ethic. And he doing good with the streaming, he doing decent, don't get me wrong. But shoot, under that contract he stuck up under, it ain't no telling that they could touch the streaming bread, because that contract is basically loophole proof dang near. Shoot, it's crazy. But it's just crazy in the industry also how we have our picks and chooses on what we want to label a snitch or a rat and give certain things a pass, you know what I'm saying? So that part really just be blowing me, to be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I just listen to the music, you know what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, the best rapper always gonna pretty much be the fakest one, you know what I'm saying? When I say fake, I don't mean he wasn't born in the street and nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? It just, when I say fake, I mean in terms of, you know what's authentic and you know what's ain't. And usually the ones that's the most authentic, trying to turn their life that they once lived in the streets into rhymes, he might not be as hot as the one that ain't never did it before. Put it like that. That's what I mean. But yeah, it's just crazy how we could just take one thing and be like, you know what, since I rock with this and since I go with this is what it is over here and can't nobody tell me different. It's like we move the goalposts, rearrange the rules. Matter of fact, we just kick the rules all the way out with it's something that we really feeling or something that we like, But all I'm saying is, shoot, just keep it a buck with everything, If it falls under that, it falls under that, Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts, you know what I'm saying? Because what I really admired about that Tekashi 6ix9ine The Big Bank interview was, I wouldn't really say that, Tekashi proved his point true enough. And Bank did look bad up there, trying to make excuses up for his homies and whatnot. But hey, you took the man money. And, the man paid you to be on your platform, But when Wack 100 accepted the bag, everybody had a problem with it when Wack 100 accepted the bag. But fast forward the clock, we're in a day and time now where, if it's going to benefit you, go ahead and make that move, man. No matter what folks think, because they ain't going to pay your bills at the end of the day. At the end of the day, you got to pay your bills. And you know what you got to do. And besides, it's the internet. Real street guys ain't dealing with this internet thing. They might have heard about you on the internet, but if you really out there in the street, you ain't got time to pay attention to no internet, trust me. I'm pretty sure some of us done been at that point at one time. And once you decide to do right, hey, you got spare time on your hands. You can check this internet out and see what it's talking about. But other than that, no, man. But it's just crazy how, we try to make up excuses for certain things when in the back of our mind, how you know that right from wrong. You kind of have that similar factor, like, I know I'm wrong for trying to, expose this over here, but keep my mouth shut about that over there, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is when it comes to that, People always gonna take up and look out for they certain ones, you know. But hey, I sort of take the zero route. I'm one deep, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But yeah, just had to touch on that real quick.